we watch, we observe, and then we strike. Welcome to Crypto Strikers. My name is Frank. The channel you want to subscribe to for Bitcoin, altcoin, and all the crypto analysis. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the Bitcoin price. We're also going to take a look at Ethereum, my price target, where I feel the price of Bitcoin might be heading to in the immediate short term, and also my price target for the long term as well. I remember I told you guys when Bitcoin was still in $42,000, and then I made it very clear that Bitcoin is heading to $48,000, and that is what we really saw. And it was clearly stated in my thumbnail that Bitcoin is heading from $42,000 to $48,000. And then I remember advising you guys taking your profit once we get to $48,000, because we're gonna see a slight pullback in the price of Bitcoin, and from there anything can happen before we can see a much more upper movements to the upside. And then I feel that was exactly how it happened, and then Bitcoin really came to $48,000, and we saw a slight pullback in the price of Bitcoin to $46,000, and before Bitcoin starts another movement to the upside, which we saw Bitcoin gets to $49,000 to $50,000, just as we can see it right now. So where do I feel the price target of Bitcoin might be heading to at the immediate short term, and also the price target of Ethereum as well? Well, if this is your first time meeting me on this channel, kindly click on the subscribe button, click on the notification bell icon, and give the video a thumbs up to support my channel. Without further ado, let me just jump right into the video of today. Alright guys, so this is Bitcoin. As you can see, Bitcoin is in this descending channel, and eventually Bitcoin broke out from this descending channel, and then we saw this impulsive movement in the price of Bitcoin, and we can see that we have something like this. We saw Bitcoin start chopping around and then form this symmetrical triangle, and eventually form something like this. And I know Bitcoin formed something like this, and eventually the price of Bitcoin broke out from here, and made the price target of this symmetrical triangle, and similar thing is also forming. If you take a look very carefully, you can see when Bitcoin eventually broke out from this particular range as well, when it broke out from that $48,000 I was mentioning in my previous video, you saw that similar thing that occur here is also happened here, and I stated it as well, that we were forming something like this. We were forming something like this, and eventually we form something like this. You can see this is one symmetrical triangle here, this is another symmetrical triangle, and eventually when we broke out from this symmetrical triangle at the downside, when we broke out, let me zoom out, when we broke out from this particular place, we saw these two big impulsive movement of Bitcoin, and then eventually form a bull flag again, and you know, this is a bull flag like this. Now we eventually formed something like this, and then eventually broke out from this symmetrical triangle. So now where do I feel the price of Bitcoin might be heading to? Now two things can happen when Bitcoin behave like this. We've seen something like this in the past, and once Bitcoin behave like this, you can see the price of Bitcoin, if it eventually broke out, we can have you can see the price target based on this bull flag that Bitcoin formed here. If this impulsive move wants to like really continue, we're going to see the price of Bitcoin heads to $52,000 from this particular range, based on this impulsive move that just happened here. And you can see we have started seeing some movement in the price of Bitcoin, and then $52,000 is absolutely playing out for the price of Bitcoin. $52,000 is playing out for the price of Bitcoin, and when Bitcoin gets to $52,000, it will be best for you guys to take your profit there, and then see what really wants to like play out in the price of Bitcoin. So $52,000 is the price target for Bitcoin based on this bull flag that happened there, and based on this, although Bitcoin already met the price target based on this symmetrical triangle, and we saw a pullback which is realistic. The pullback of Bitcoin is realistic. And now where do I feel after Bitcoin gets to this $52,000 what might really happen next, guys? If you take a look at this, I know I mentioned it in my previous video that whenever we have this cross in the price of Bitcoin, there's always an impulsive move. Whenever we see this cross that we can see here, there's always an impulsive move, and then this cross, this blue line that we have here, is the 21 exponential moving average, and the orange line that we see here is the 55 exponential moving average. Whenever we have a cross between these two moving averages, either to the upside or to the downside, there's always an impulsive move when it comes to the price of Bitcoin. So we just saw another cross in the price of Bitcoin, but fortunately for us, this cross that we have here is to the upside, and that means we're going to see the price of Bitcoin move to much more higher level. Now, if you want to confirm what I just said, take a look at it. This is another cross that we have here. If you can see, we have the 21 exponential moving average cross over the 55 exponential moving average, but this time it crosses to the downside, and then what do we see? We saw the price of Bitcoin eventually fall down to this particular level, and this was when Bitcoin was around $58,000, and then when this cross happened, we saw Bitcoin comes down to $29,000. Now let's go back in time and see, and also confirm what I'm trying to say here. Now you can see that we have another cross here as well. We have another cross here as well, and then what do we see? When the 55 exponential moving average and 21, when they cross each other, you can see they cross each other to the upside. The 21 cross it to the upside. We saw this when the cross happened here. We saw this movement up to this particular price range for Bitcoin. If we go back in time again and then still seek out for much more confirmation, we will still see that, okay, look at this particular point here. We saw a cross here, and the price of Bitcoin fell down, and it crashed up to this particular level. So now there's another cross here again. What do we see? We saw the price of Bitcoin move to the upside as well. So we really want to pay attention to this 21 and 55 exponential moving average most time when we have a cross. So another cross just happened here, and this time is to the upside. So definitely we're going to see the price of Bitcoin to the upside, but it's not going to happen all at once. It's not going to happen maybe in one day or 1 week or so. You know, this is going to take a long time, but you really need to like stay put, and don't like really over leverage yourself, because this cross, when this cross happens, it doesn't mean the price of Bitcoin will just start keep going up forever. We can also see a pullback when it comes to the price. It still doesn't really matter, but the goal of it is just that once this happens, we always see this, you know, we always see movement of Bitcoin like this to the upside. You always see the movement of Bitcoin to the upside, so pay attention to that as well. Now, if you take a look at the downside, you can see that we have the RSI here. We have the RSI here, and this is the RSI on the daily time frame, and you can see we still have a much more room to go to get to the 70 range when it comes to the RSI for BTC. Now you can also see that the RSI is way past above the 50 level, which is a bullish sign for the price of Bitcoin. Take a look at this, guys. The RSI is way above the 50 level, and this is a bullish sign, and it means we still have a much more room to go for the price of Bitcoin. This is the MACD when it comes to the price of Bitcoin. As you can see, we also have a MACD cross in the price of Bitcoin. Take a look at this, guys. We have a MACD cross here, and then immediately this happened, we can see that the MACD, the signal line of the MACD, we start moving into the positive territory for the MACD, and which is a bullish sign for the price of Bitcoin. And also, when we have a bullish cross in the MACD, it means we're going to see the price of Bitcoin edge to the upside. It means we're going to have a movement like this. We're going to see the price of Bitcoin move to the upside. We're going to see the price of Bitcoin move to the upside because we just have a cross here. Take a look here. When we have this cross to the downside, Bitcoin eventually fell to the downside. When we have the cross to the, and this particular one, you can see we move to the upside. Like all these things, it happens. These are not just speculation. When we have this cross again at this particular range here, you can see when we have this cross at this particular range here as well, what did you see? We saw the price of Bitcoin head to this particular head to the upside, and then you can see the MACD started moving in the positive territory. So these are what we really want to be paying attention when it comes to the price of Bitcoin also, guys. But now take a look at what the stochastic is talking about when it comes to the price of Bitcoin. Guys, take a look at this. Now we have, it means that you can see here that the stochastic is way above this higher range as well, and at this particular point in time, we can see we don't really need to explain much when it comes to this place. We can see that whenever the price of BTC gets to this top here, we can see what did we see? We saw a pullback. We saw a pullback in the price. Whenever the price of Bitcoin gets to this top here, what can we see? We see a pullback in the price. Like each and every time it occurs, we saw a pullback. There is another one here again. When the price of Bitcoin gets to this point of your stochastic, we saw a pullback. Like it happened. See another one, a pullback here. There's another one here, a pullback. You can see a pullback. It gets to this point, a pullback. Like it occurs times without number, and now this is where we are right now. What do you guys think, guys? What do you think? This is where we are right now. Do you think we are gonna go above this level and goes way above the scale? I don't really think so. So I feel the price of Bitcoin, we are still gonna see a pullback in the price of Bitcoin, and once that pullback happens, this is where you really want to start taking your trade. Once it's really happened, you don't want to start entering a trade now when Bitcoin is in this particular direction, because if Bitcoin wants to move from this particular point here, you can just see the price of Bitcoin move in this particular direction like this. You can see the price of Bitcoin move either to the sideways and eventually come down again, just the way it is. And this kind of movement will only result to a $2,000 movement. At most, maybe $3,000 movement is what we're going to see from this point that Bitcoin has gotten to. You can see, maybe you can still see a movement of between $2,000 to $3,000 movement, and after that, the price of Bitcoin going to come down and test this particular range. So this is not really a speculation. So you really want to pay attention to this. Don't go and over leverage yourself when it comes to the price of BTC. So now, that's my price target for Bitcoin. At the immediate short term, we are going to extend to the $52,000 range, and then $52,000 to $53,000 range at most $53,000. And then when we get to that $53,000, we can see a pullback, or we can see some movements to the downside of BTC. But where do I feel the price of Bitcoin might be heading to when it comes to the long term, guys? This is what I've been preaching around in almost all my videos, that Bitcoin in the long term have way much more upper sides to go compared to Bitcoin coming down. But before I get into the long term of Bitcoin, let's take a look at the price of Ethereum and see where my price target are for the price of Ethereum. So guys, this is the price of Ethereum, and Ethereum is very similar to what we have in Bitcoin, and if you can see, we have the same moving average when it comes to Ethereum and Bitcoin as well. But unfortunately, we've not gotten a cross when it comes to these two moving averages for Ethereum. You know, they just only kiss each other here, and eventually the 21 exponential moving average find its way to the upside. We've not like really got an actual cross. But if you take a look at Ethereum right now, Ethereum also is kind of similar to what Bitcoin has already done in the past days. If you can see, Bitcoin broke out, went from this particular point here, and we saw an impulsive move to the upside. And what did Bitcoin did again? We saw Bitcoin make a movement like this. We saw Bitcoin start chopping around and then form a symmetrical triangle like this, and then eventually we saw a movement to the upside. So you really want to pay attention to the price of Ethereum as well, because it's very similar to what we have in Bitcoin. It's very similar to what we have in Bitcoin. I believe you're going to see some range bound formation in the price of Ethereum, and then a much more movement to the upside. But now, if I take the fib extension of this Ethereum, we can determine the price target of where I feel the price of Ethereum might be heading to. Now, if I take the fib extension from this swing low here to the swing high, this is the all-time high of Ethereum. This is when Ethereum goes to $4,000 range. And then let me take the fib extension, and then let me not use the week. I don't like using the week. Okay, no. If I use the week, because the week is the week is at the top, so I'm gonna use the week at the bottom as well. So now, if I take it at this particular point here, okay, so we can see that Ethereum still have a way much more upper sides to go. Now, when this range bound formation happen for the price of Ethereum, we're gonna break this fib extension. This 0.382 extension that we have here, the price of Ethereum going to break it and then head over to this next price target of $3,700 range. So expect the price of Ethereum to come to this $3,700 range, and once Ethereum come to this $3,700 range, a whole lot is going to happen there. Then we're going to see the price of Ethereum to either from this point come down back to, I almost retest this price level of 0.382 and goes to the 0.5 fib extension. But you really needs to like wait when the price of Ethereum gets to $3,800 or $4,000. That is when you really want to make decision when it comes to the price of Ethereum. So Ethereum also have a much more higher price targets to go when it comes to the price analysis for Ethereum. So guys, where do I feel the price of Bitcoin might be heading to in the long term? So let's take a look at this. So guys, I've been talking this in most of my videos, and I am one of the few persons talking about the price of Bitcoin forming what is actually forming now, and a lot of persons are not really talking about this. And now if we take a look at this is the Bitcoin price on the weekly time frame, and this is what I feel is unfolding right now for the price of Bitcoin. I feel we have this left shoulder here, we have the head here, and the right shoulder is about to be formed in the price of Bitcoin. And when this happens, this is where we are going to see the price of Bitcoin to head to this particular price target. Let me reveal it to you guys. When this happens, we're going to see the price of Bitcoin head to this price target of $75,000 to $76,000 for one Bitcoin. So guys, this is the long-term price target for Bitcoin, and then this is what is unfolding in the price of Bitcoin. So you don't want to start entering into a trade when Bitcoin has got into this particular price range. You want to enter now, you want to start buying Bitcoin now when it has not really break this trend line, because the moment Bitcoin going to break this trend line that we have here, you're going to see the price of Bitcoin gets to this price target of $75,000 to $76,000 range. So you don't want to start buying Bitcoin at this point, because this will be the top, this will be like the top for Bitcoin, and eventually a whole lot of people might want to like really take profit when Bitcoin gets to this particular price target. And this movement gonna happen so fast that you can't like really cash it, guys. It will happen so fast. And if you take a look at the left hand side, you can see we have the VPVR here. Now when Bitcoin eventually breaks this trend line that we have here, you can see that there is no much more resistance that will be stopping Bitcoin not to get to this price target of $75,000 range. There is no much more resistance that is stopping Bitcoin not to get to this $75,000 range. So once it gets to this place, Bitcoin will be in a no man's land, and once Bitcoin being in a no man's land, it will start going up and then find a point to settle in. And once it gets to that point where it will settle in, a whole lot of person will want to like take profit. But this is when Bitcoin is even much more conservative. This is when the price of Bitcoin is much more conservative. And when I say conservative, I mean something like this, that now if we take the AB equals to CD move in this particular price formation that we have here, we can do something like this. You can see the moment when Bitcoin breaks this particular range, and we have all this impulsive move here based on the Elliott wave. You can see that if Bitcoin break out from this particular point that we have here, the price target of Bitcoin from this particular range here will take Bitcoin to a price target of over $100,000, guys. This is $102,000, the price target of Bitcoin. So when this happens, Bitcoin will move up to this particular price target. And all these are not like really, all these are not coincident, guys. If you take the fib extension again from this point here, let me take the fib extension from this point here, from the swing low to the swing line, and to the swing high, and let me just put it at this point of pullback that we have currently in the price of Bitcoin. You can see that the first price target that I mentioned, which is $75,000, guys, you can see it's not a coincidence when it comes to the price of Bitcoin. Let me zoom out so you guys can see. Now you can see that this particular movement from this point here to this exact point here, you can see it take Bitcoin to the 0.618 fib extension level for Bitcoin, and if you know about this particular price target, you know that this is the most important price important price target when it comes to the price of Bitcoin. The 0.618 is the golden ratio when it comes to the price of Bitcoin, and it is very realistic for the price of Bitcoin to, once it breaks this particular trend line, it will head straight to this Fibonacci golden ratio that we have here, that is sitting around $75,000, $74,000 to $75,000 range. So this is not a coincidence. Also, the long-term price target as well, which I drew here, you can see it took the Bitcoin price to way above this particular fib extension here, which is $96,000, and we all know when this impulsive move will happen, it will go way past above this fib extension, and once it gets to this level, you can see the price of Bitcoin way above $100,000, and then still even comes to this price target that we have here, which is sitting around $130,000 for one Bitcoin. So you don't want to start thinking of buying Bitcoin when Bitcoin gets to this level, because you will get dumped. The whales will dump on you. People who understand how this whole market cycle work, they will dump you, and you're gonna lose your money. So this is the time for you to go into Bitcoin. This is the time for you to start buying, and don't allow your emotions to start making decisions when it comes to you taking profit. So that is what I have for you guys. That is my price target for the long term, and also my price target for the short term as well. So if you find value in this video, kindly give this video a thumbs up, and click on the notification bell icon to get more updates anytime I post similar video like this when it comes to the price of Bitcoin or any other crypto analysis as well. So with that being said, I'll be signing out. Catch you guys. Peace.